night before. Okay, I check my marker lights, make sure they're all working, clean, working properly. Amber in the front, all my other marker lights in the back are red. Windshields, check my windshields, make sure they're all in good shape, clean, not cracked, no illegal stickers. My windshield wipers, proper tension, good rubbers on it in case you get stuck in the snow somewhere. You want to make sure it moves the snow. Come down to the hood, general condition of the hood, make sure it's all good. And I'll come down, I look underneath, make sure there's no puddles of leaking either motor oil, transmission fluid, hydraulic, coolant, whatever. Okay, you're looking for anything that's underneath, any puddles. Okay, and I get a visual of the front axle and the U-bolts. Make sure the U-bolts are tight, and when I do the engine compartment, I'll check the U-bolts again. But overall view of the front end, check all my turn signals, mounted and secure, clean, working properly. Amber in the front, red in the back. Headlights, same thing, clean, working properly, mounted and secure. High beam, low beam, likewise, same on this other side. Do my turn signals, clean, working properly. Amber in the front, red in the back. Headlights, same thing, clean, working properly. High beam, low beam. Okay. Check my grill, make sure it's clean, nothing that's going to obstruct my airflow. Do the radiator, bumper mounted and secure, all bolts in place, hold tight. License plate in place with 2 bolts. Okay, so from there I can open up the hood and do the I always say, do your walk around the same way every time. Okay, and I've always told the guys start right here with a grab bar. Okay, mounted and secure. Door opens and closes properly. Windows roll up, roll down properly. And in here, I got a tire gauge. Got my tire gauge. Check my mirror brackets, mounted and secure. Mirrors mounted and secure. Clean, working properly, no cracks, no illegal stickers on my mirrors. Okay, top one, bottom one, same thing, mounted and secure. Coming down, got my fuel cap, proper fuel cap for the tank with a gasket to prevent any spillage. Okay, so when you top it off, you go around a corner or you roll your truck, you don't want no spillage. Okay, check your straps, mounted and secure, tight. No gap underneath the straps, which would indicate a loose strap. Okay, checking both. Check your frame. No cracks, no illegal welds. All the bolts in place. And I'll come on over here. Usually I take this whole compartment in one section. Okay, I go from left to right, from inside outside. Check my radiator, mounted and secure. My shroud, mounted and secure. Not cracked, not hitting the fan. All my blades are in good shape, no crack, no missing fan blades. Okay. My fan belt in the middle here, no more than 3/4 play on the fan belt between the pulleys. Alternator, mounted and secure with all the bolts, all the wires tucked away from any moving part. Compressor, and going back to alternator, it's belt driven, because it's got a belt as opposed to compressor. It's gear driven. It doesn't have a belt on it, so you got to mention that. If it's belt driven, you got to let them know. Gear driven, you got to let them know. Got my air governor, all my air hoses. Make sure that all my air hoses are in good shape, no leaks. Always listen for leaks. Okay. Got my transmission dipstick. Make sure it's full to the manufacturer's recommendation. My oil dipstick back here, again, check the oil, make sure it's filled to the manufacturer's recommendation. If I have to add oil to the motor, I got a fill tube right here. Okay. Power steering fluid, okay, filled to the manufacturer's recommendation, and it's gear driven. There's no belt on it. Okay, and I check all my hoses, make sure there's no leaks on my power steering. Moving down, I got my steering column. Check my steering column, and I grab a hold of it and move it. I'm checking the U-joints, make sure there's no excessive play in the U-joints. Okay, and the steering column is connected to your gearbox. steering box, okay, mounted and secure, connected to your pitman arm, mounted and secure, no excessive play, to your drag link, okay. I shake it around a little bit. I'm checking the ball joints, make sure there's no excessive play in it. Drag link connected to the steering arm on this side, okay. And if you go down, it's got the tie rod from this wheel to the other one, which connects this tire to the other tire, okay. And I got my U-bolts, okay, I mentioned from the front, okay. So if I go from the front back and go the spring hangers, mounted and secure, no missing bolts, leaf springs, can't have no more than a quarter of them cracked or missing. Put my truck out of service, U-bolts, nice and tight. Got the shackles right here. There's a little block, there's a shackle and a spring hanger. Make sure all the bolts are there, no cracks, no illegal welds, along with the frame, same thing. Frame, no cracks, no illegal welds. Working my way out, okay. I got all my air hoses. Very important that you have good air hoses. They're not cracked, splitting, blistering, no leaks, always listening for leaks. Brake chamber, mounted and secure, okay, with a tight strap around it to hold it tight, okay, not damaged. I got a brake chamber. In the middle of that, I got a push rod. It pushes out. When it pushes out, it moves the slack adjuster. Slack adjuster applies the brake through the S-cam, which is in here. You can't see it. Slack adjuster, if you release the brakes and you pull on it, shouldn't pull no more than an inch. If you pull more than an inch, your brakes are out of adjustment, and you've got to adjust them all, not just one. Okay, so slack adjuster can't have no more than a 1 inch pull. Okay, like I said, S-cam is in here. All that does is open and close your brake shoes inside. On this side of the wheel, you got a little dust cover with the 2 little windows. You got a little window on top, a little window on bottom. Get in there, look at the brake shoes. Brake shoes can't have no less than a quarter wear on the brake shoes. When you buy them brand new, they're about 3/4. And as they start wearing out, they get down to a quarter. It's time to change them. So we got dust cover, brake shoes. Okay, you got your brake drum. You got your brake drum that is up against your brake shoes. Look at your brake drums. Can't have no cracks, no bluing. Bluing is an indicator of overheating. Okay, shouldn't have any bluing on it. Your rim. Make sure your rim's in good shape, not bent. No illegal welds. Okay, sidewalls, no cuts, cracks, or bulges. The sidewalls, tire tread all the way around, nice even wear, okay, no less than 4/32. Okay, and the other outer wall, same thing, no cuts, cracks, or bulges. All right, and keep on going down. This is an aluminum rim, so I check all my lug nuts, make sure all my lug nuts are tight. If they were loose, good indication would be shininess around the back. Okay, because it's an aluminum rim as opposed to the back ones that are steel rims. If they're loose, good indication of a loose lug nut would be rust coming off the sides here. Okay. Check my valve stem, make sure my valve stem's straight, not bent, not leaking. I check my tire pressure with a tire gauge. Always have a gauge. You have to check it with a gauge. You can't just walk up to it and kick it. Okay, so we check it and make sure it's built to the manufacturer's recommendation. These tires, I believe, call for 120. I like to leave them about 115. That's me personal, because if I get out to the valley somewhere where it's hot in the summertime, it allows for a little bit of expansion. Okay, so check the tire, the rim, the nut, valve stem. You got your oil hub. Make sure you have adequate oil in your hubs. There should be a little indicator line right around the plug here. And you fill it right to the bottom. There should be a little line right there where it's full. Okay, if you can't see it, you stick your hand in there just a little bit. Make sure you got oil. Okay, just be careful when you put this back in that you don't force it in there and break the seal. Okay, then there's a couple things I didn't mention. If you step back and say, okay, did I get everything? Look at it. Okay, you know what? I forgot to tell you about the shocks. Okay. Oh, these are my shocks. I check my shocks. Make sure they're in good shape, mounted and secure. Make sure they're not leaking. If it was leaking, it'd be indicated by oil streaks right here at the bottom. And I check my mud flaps. Okay, make sure I have all my mud flaps. Okay, and then you come back and look at it. Okay, I think I covered everything.
Did you mention the governor was also gear driven?
You mentioned the governor.
I mentioned the compressor. The compressor is gear driven, and the governor just sits on top. That just cuts in and cuts out for your cut in, cut out. No, I take it back. The governor controls your speed. Okay, they're usually set for like about 60 miles per hour. You can adjust them so you can get up to 70, 75. Trucks, 3 axles or more, should only be 55. Okay, so your governor adjusts your speed. Okay? Alright, so going around to the other side, we pretty much cover everything same way. Okay? From right to left. Radiator, same thing, mounted and secure. Make sure I have adequate coolant in it. Alright. Check all my hoses, my connections. All my hoses are tucked away from any moving part. In good shape, not leaking. These are all my heater hoses. My shroud, not hitting the fan on this side. Fan, all my blades are in good shape, not cracked or missing. Check my other fan belt on this side. Again, no more than 3/4. Okay. And this has got a water pump right here on the inside. It's gear driven, it's internal, so it's a water pump right here. If it were leaking, it would be leaking with would be indicated by the water coming right down to the bottom here. It would be dripping right behind it on the bottom. Okay, cover all that. Move it all the way back. A lot of this is your exhaust system. You don't want to touch it, it's hot. You gotta check all your straps, the turbo. Check your straps, make sure there's not leaking. If it was leaking, it'd be a good indicator. It would be black soot coming out of the joints here. Okay, time to change it. Working your way out, same thing as I did over there. A little bit. We got windshield washer fluid. Make sure you mention that. Keep your windows clean because your windshield washer has to work. You'll check it when you do the in-cab. Okay, so you check your water, check your air filter, make sure it's in good shape. Make sure it doesn't have any buildup of dirt inside it. Okay. If you were out in the strawberry field, like I said, or lettuce fields in the dirt, you'd get a lot of dirt in here. Okay. If you check your frame, or your frame, any cracks, missing bolts, any illegal welds, and again, check from right to left. Okay. Spring hangers, leaf springs, can't have no more than 1/4 of them cracked or missing. All your U-bolts, okay, and I mentioned go ahead and check your U-bolts. I mentioned it from underneath where you can see the bolts. Touch it. Don't just stand back here and point because they don't know what you're pointing at. Okay, so okay, my U-bolts, my leaf spring, my shocks. Make sure they're in good shape, not leaking. If they were leaking, it'd be indicated by oil streaks on the bottom. You got your shackles. There's a little square block right here. There's your shackle and your spring hanger, the leaf springs, all your frame, no cracks, no illegal welds. Okay, everything is mounted, secure, mud flaps, and like I did on the other side, work from the inside out. You got the other side of the tie rod, steering arm, brake chamber, okay, with a strap nice and tight around the center. All your air hoses in good shape, not cracked, not leaking. Your ABS cable in good shape, tucked away from any moving parts. In the middle of the brake chamber, we have a push rod that comes out, and basically all that does is push on the slack adjuster. Slack adjuster rotates. Can't have no more than 1-inch pull. If the brakes are released, you grab it and pull back. Can't have no more than 1-inch pull. That in turn connected to the S cam, which is down inside, which opens and closes your brake shoes. Dust cover, same thing. Got a window on top, window on bottom. Look through it. Look at your brake shoes. Can't have no less than 1/4 brake lining on your shoes. You have to replace them. Check your brake drum, for any cracks, any bluing, which is an indicator of overheating. Check your rims, make sure all your rims are in good shape, not bent, cracked, illegal welds. Sidewalls, again, no cuts, cracks, or bulges. Tire tread, nice even wear. No less than 4/30 seconds on the front, no less than 2/30 seconds on the back. Check your sidewalls again, no cuts, cracks, or bulges. And when I say cuts, cracks, or bulges, if you run over those metal bands, it cuts it, okay? That's what I'm talking about. Cracks, if you leave tires out in the sun too long, all these boat trailers that sit in the sun all winter, they start cracking, or if they start delaminating inside, they'll get a bulge, okay? So no cuts, no cracks, or no bulges, okay? And again, like the same as on the other side, aluminum rim. Check all your lug nuts, okay? Good indicator of a loose lug nut would be shininess around the back because it's aluminum as opposed to the back rims, which are steel. Good indication on the steel would be the rust streaks. Oil hub, same as I mentioned on the other side, should have adequate oil. If you can't see it, pop the cap out, stick your finger in there, check it. Just be careful when you pop it back in, okay? Moving on down, you can go top to bottom, okay? Check your grab bar, mounted and secure, all the doors open and close, all your windows open and close, okay? One thing I didn't mention on the other side, which I should have mentioned, was the steps, okay? You mentioned this fuel tank and the cap, make sure you mention your steps, okay? I totally forgot about that until right now. But here you got your exhaust system, part of the emissions control. You got your steps, make sure they're clean, no mud, no grease, nothing's going to cause you to slip. On top one and bottom one, same thing. We got air tanks, we got a primary and a secondary, okay? We got oversized tanks. Normal tanks are usually a little bit smaller, kind of almost the size of a coffee can. These you got the big ones. Battery box, battery in here. They never have you open it, but if they do ask you what's in there, you say your batteries and what do you check for. Make sure the batteries are mounted and secure, they're not loose running around, no corrosion on the cable. Make sure the batteries have adequate water in it, make sure they're all good, okay? So check your batteries, mounted and secure, they got to be bolted down. All right, coming back, you got the rest of the exhaust, okay? Again, check all your straps, make sure there's no black soot, okay? All the exhaust pipe, all the guards, okay? And a lot of times people ask me about the hydraulic cylinder. Do I have to mention that? It's on there, I mention it, but depending on what you drive down there, whether you take a dump truck or a flatbed or a water truck, whatever, it's not all gonna be the same, okay? So this one's a dump truck, hydraulic ramp, make sure it's not leaking, okay? General overview of the bed, make sure it's in good shape, make sure there's no holes in it. It's going to allow material to fall down, okay? And I go from front to back, from center out. Just real quick, right here, you go to the frame, check for cracks. Excuse me. Hello? Oh yeah. Well, I think they close at 6, don't they? What time is it now? Okay, I'll see if I can swing by there and get some. Okay. Bye. Sorry about that, guys.
Oh, okay, no problem.
Stop and get some hay for the goats.
Órale, good. You got some birria later.
Yeah, I know. So check the frame, no cracks, no missing bolts, no illegal welds, okay? What I like to tell the guys to check is right in here, okay? That's where the bed comes down if you have a load and you bring it down, or if you go forward and hit your brakes, okay? Puts a lot of pressure on that. So always check right in here for any cracks, okay? Work your way back, check your frame, make sure there's no cracks. No missing bolts. Storage box is nice and tight. And right here, if I do it, I go from the center out. Okay, so I'll crawl in there, check my drive line, wiggle it around, make sure there's no play in my U-joints. Okay, And I got my brake chambers mounted and secure, not damaged. A strap in the center, nice and tight. Same in the front. They have a push rod in the center, which pushes the slack adjuster, which turns the S-cam. Okay. Same in the front. Check all your air hoses. Make sure all your air hoses are in good shape, not cracked, not blistering. Always listening for leaks. You have a dust cover with a little window in it. You can check your brake shoes. Then you got your brake drum. Okay, make sure it's not cracked, no bluing. And the rim itself, no cracks, no illegal welds, not bent. Sidewalls. Okay, tire tread, nice even wear. No less than 2/32 on the back. No mixed tires. Make sure they're the same size. Make sure they're the same style, either radial or bias ply tires. They got to be the same. And make sure there's a gap between the wheels. Make sure they're not touching. Make sure there's nothing lodged between it. You go out to the landfill and you pick up a rock or something, it gets wedged in here. You're liable to throw it out and hit somebody. So make sure there's a nice, even, clean gap between the tires. Okay. Tire tread. Again, 2/32, sidewalls, no cuts, cracks, or bulges. Now these are steel rims, so you check all your lug nuts. Okay, make sure they're all tight. If one were loose, a good indication would be rust streaks right from the nut outward. Okay, check your valve stems. Make sure they're straight, not bent, with a cap. Okay, should have a cap on them. So you don't get no mud stuck in there if you go out to the landfill. So check your valve stem, straight, not bent, with a valve cap. All your axle bolts, make sure they're all nice and tight, with a gasket, preventing the grease from coming out. Your differentials, if these were loose, a good indication would be oil coming out of here, would be oil splatter along the inside of the rim. Okay, as you're going around, it just splatters the oil. Okay. In between it, again, check your frame, no cracks, no illegal welds. And your spring hangers on both sides. Now all your leaf springs, make sure they're not cracked. Can't have no more than 1/4 of them cracked or missing. And like the front has U-bolts, this has through bolts. It goes straight here, goes straight through the bottom. They're through. So check your through bolts and your lower suspension. The lower suspension, not a whole lot there. It just acts like a teeter-totter. Okay. And then you check all of the tires on the back. Again, the sidewalls, the rims, okay, sidewalls, gap, nice even wear, matching tires. Same as I did on that one. Check the rim, make sure it's not bent, cracked, no illegal welds. Check all your lug nuts, check for rust streaks, check all your axle bolts. Make sure you got a gasket preventing the grease from coming out. And it gets repetitious after that. So, but we'll touch the back of the truck. General overview of the truck. Make sure the hinges are working properly. You don't want the tailgate coming off. Make sure your locking mechanism is working properly, okay, to prevent any spillage. You got your brake lights, backup lights. Make sure that everything's working properly. On the underside, you have brake chambers, all your air hoses, push rod, slack adjuster, S-cam is in the tube. Okay, make sure your brake chamber has a strap around it, nice and tight. And just working my way back to the tailgate. You got your brake lights on the bottom, and the hitch, all parts pertaining to the hitch. You got the pintle hook, all bolted in there. Make sure there's no cracks, no illegal welds. Okay, locking mechanism working properly latched. Okay, check your pintle hook for any excessive wear on the pintle hook and the trailer hitch. Can't have no more than 15% wear on either one. Safety chains in place. You have 2 of them. Make sure the crisscross pattern, in case the trailer does come apart, it catches the tongue before it hits the ground. So make sure you have 2 safety chains in a crisscross pattern. Check your glad hands, make sure they're not leaking. You got the blue and the red. The blue is for service, the red is for emergency brakes. And you got your electrical. Make sure your electrical is pushed in all the way and locked in there with a locking tab in there. Okay, what you're doing is you're looking for leaks. So when you do check your glad hands and you know which is which and they're all right, check your air hoses, make sure they're all in good shape, not cracked, not leaking, no bare spots. Same with your cable, make sure that your cable is in good shape, no bare wires showing. Okay, now this has got just the outer casing, it hasn't actually broke through yet. That should be fixed. But you're looking for bare wires where this is actually dropped down in between and drug on the ground, and you got bare wires. Okay. Trailer hitch, the hitch itself, as I mentioned, can't have no more than 15% excessive wear. Check the trailer, make sure your trailer's not bent, cracked, no illegal welds. Check your landing gear, make sure it's up, properly stowed away, so it's not dragging when you go over any low spots. Okay, trailer itself, overview of the trailer, make sure all the boards are in good shape. You don't want to get a piece of equipment on there and then falling through. Okay, the trailer itself on the outside, okay, we check it, make sure you have adequate reflective tape. It's got to be like 75% reflective tape on the sides. Check all your D-rings, make sure there's no cracks in them. And on the underside, we get under it, we check all the cross members, make sure they're not cracked. So we check the cross members and the frame, where it all comes together, it's all welded. Okay, so no cracks, no illegal welds. There shouldn't be welding on it. Okay, and same as we did up there. This one here got spring hangers, leaf springs, and the bottom one is a torsion bar. Okay, and on the inside you got your brake chamber, slack adjuster, push rod, air hoses. Check all your hoses, always checking for leaks, always listening for leaks. Check your tires, no more than 230 seconds wear on the tires, filled to the manufacturer's recommendation, gap between them. Okay, check all your lug nuts, make sure they're tight. This has got oil hubs, so it's got an oil plug in it. Make sure you have adequate oil on it. Okay, and make sure it's not leaking with oil splatter on the sides. Okay, moving on back, same thing. Okay, this has got 3 axles, so it's got more spring hangers. You got spring hangers here, got the leaf springs, torsion bar, and you got brake chambers on this other side. Okay, so check the brake chambers, mounted secure, not bent, not damaged. Check all your air hoses, make sure there's no leaks, no cuts, no bulges, and always listening for leaks. Check your tires, same 230 seconds, gap between it. Rims, same as we did the last several, always looking for leaks. Check all your lug nuts, check your valve stems, make sure the tires are filled to the manufacturer's recommendation. Not all tires carry the same, and they're all a different rating, so know what the manufacturer's recommendation is and go accordingly. Okay, and again, you know, spring hangers, leaf springs, torsion bar, brake chamber, slack adjuster, air hoses, all that's underneath. Each end of an axle has a brake chamber and slack adjuster. Okay, so you got to check all that, and you might be able to get a better view from the back. It's kind of hard to see because it's kind of in between. It's a low trailer, but it's all in there. And check it all, make sure is in good shape, not damaged in any way. Okay, so check them all. And like I said, it all depends on what the DMV is going to require you to do the test on. Okay, it might just be one side or a quarter side, whatever.
So whatever it is that we do here,
yeah,
same exact thing on the other side.
Okay. And it gets monotonous after a while.
Yeah. All right.
Back of the trailer, same thing. Check all your lights, make sure they're clean, working properly. Turn signals on the outside, brake lights on the inside with marker lights in the center, red in the back, amber in the front. License plate mounted and secure with 2 bolts and a light that works. Okay, ramps are spring loaded so they don't fall off. Just check your springs, make sure they're all in good shape. Marker lights on the side of the trailer. There's some red on the back, amber in the front. Got an amber here in the front on the back. That's an ABS indicator. Lets you know if your ABS brakes are working or not working. And we do the same as we did on that side. We got the side of the trailer, reflective tape, 75%. Check all your D-ring. Check all your slack adjusters, your push rods. Same as on that side. Okay? Anything on this side is just the crank for the landing gear. Make sure it's all the way up. Make sure it's properly stowed so it's not bouncing around. Marker lights again. And amber towards the front. Okay. Back of the truck is red. Check all your mud flaps. I don't think I mentioned my mud flaps on that side. Check your mud flaps. Tire tread. Make sure you're not going to cut. No cracks, no bulges. Check the inner side walls. Make sure they're matching set. Can't have radial and bias ply. Leaf springs, spring hangers, through bolts. Check all your lower suspension, all the bushings on that. And on this side, another storage box mounted and secure. Check all your frame. No cracks, no illegal welds. And we have a hydraulic tank on this side for the hydraulic rams. So that's it in a nutshell. It gets boring after a while, especially if you've been doing it for a while. But try to memorize the whole thing, especially like the engine compartment, your axles, and your trailer hitch.
Okay.
Okay, try to get that because you don't know what they're going to ask you to give.